Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera everyone. Welcome to topic 4. Before I proceed, let us look at the learning outcomes of this topic. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to first, understand aquarium types and safety. Second, understand aquarium filter and accessories. And the third one, explain aquarium maintenance. An aquarium is a setup in which ornamental fishes of aesthetic value are displayed for recreation. Aquarium come in many shapes and sizes. Aquarium can be made of materials like glass, wood, concrete, fiberglass, acrylic sheet, depending on its durability and location cost. Therefore, we can categorize based on the materials. For examples, glass tanks. There are either all glass tanks or metal frame ones. In the metal frame tanks, glass panels are held in place with battery compound. On the other hand, in all glass tanks, glass walls are fitted together edge to edge using silicone rubber adhesive. Nowadays, metal frame tanks have completely vanished due to the popularity of all glass tanks, which are known for their slim appearance and suitability for keeping marine fishes. Next, acrylic tanks. This type of tanks is lighter, stronger, and more durable than a glass tank. But an acrylic tank will scratch much easier and it can be very difficult to buff out. In terms of the shape of an aquarium, the shape of an aquarium tank may be square, circular, oval, rectangular, hexagonal, or octagonal. However, rectangular tanks are preferred as they provide sufficient area for free swimming of the fishes. These are the common size of ornamental fish tanks. Generally, the bigger the tank, the better it is, because a larger aquarium will tend to have much more stable water parameters. For example, take a 5-gallon versus a 55-gallon tank. In the 5-gallon tank, the temperature may fluctuate up to 10 degrees Fahrenheit every day, whereas the temperature isn't going to fluctuate as much in the 55-gallon. Having more water will usually buy you more time to correct anything that should happen. In addition, aquariums can be further categorized based on the types of fish being kept. First, we have freshwater aquarium, the most popular setup and the least expensive in terms of equipment and livestock. Hundreds of different types of fish available, so finding a lovable species is easy. Live aquarium plants can be kept inside the tank. Second is saltwater aquarium. This type of setup is more difficult than the freshwater setup. They use live rock as primarily biological filter. In a saltwater tank setup will increase the success of running this type of setup. Saltwater tank equipped with live rock will be more expensive than a freshwater tank because we need to purchase live rock and a protein skimmer. Marine fish are also more expensive than their freshwater counterparts. The third one is saltwater reef tank. A reef tank setup has a small piece of coral reef in which the tank setup focuses on the corals and invertebrates with a limited amount of fish. This type of setup is more expensive and costly to maintain because it needs various equipment such as metal halide lighting, protein skimmers, live rod, testing equipment, supplements, water purification units such as reverse osmosis and deionization. The livestock costs for live corals, fish and invertebrates are also very expensive. This type of tank can be very demanding when first set up because you'll need to monitor the water parameters periodically and take corrective action when necessary. These are the examples of freshwater aquarium. saltwater aquarium. Now, we move on to the types of aquarium filtration. First, we have mechanical filtration. Mechanical filtration removes the free-floating particles from the aquarium water. Mechanical filters can be made of many different materials, including filter floss, foam, gravel, and diatomaceous earth. Sand is not generally recommended because the small particle size can lead to channeling and development of anaerobic areas within the filter bed. The siphoning action of a power filter that hangs on the back of an aquarium does a decent job of this type of filtration. Second is biological filtration. Biological filtration is the most important aquarium filtration type because it deals with the growing of the good bacteria in your aquarium filter. The good bacteria is the bacteria that converts ammonia to nitrite and then converts nitrite into nitrate. This establishment of bacteria is essential to your success with keeping tropical fish. Biological filtration is the oxidation of waste products, specifically ammonia, to nitrite and then nitrate. Most fish foods have high levels of protein and the resultant waste product is ammonia. Fish excrete ammonia passively across the gill membrane. A lower pH favors ammonium, which is less toxic to fish, whereas higher pH favors ammonia, which can be highly toxic to fish. Nitrosomonas species oxidize ammonia to nitrite. Nitrobacteria species oxidize nitrite to nitrate. Nitrate is generally considered less toxic to fish, though accumulations in marine tanks may be problematic. The third one is chemical filtration. Chemical filtration involves removing the dissolved waste from the aquarium water. This is accomplished through the use of activated carbon in the aquarium filter. Activated carbon can also help to reduce odors, remove chlorine, chemical treatments including dye and heavy metals. However, it will not remove nitrogenous waste. Many people dislike using carbon in their tanks due to the fact that the carbon is useful for only a short period and then must be replaced. If it doesn't get replaced in a timely manner, the very waste that it removed can be released from the carbon back into the aquarium. Now, we are going to look at on the types of aquarium filters. First, we have corner filter. The corner filter located inside the aquarium in one of the corners or even sticks onto the glass. It is very low tech, but a corner aquarium filter can be used successfully for mechanical, chemical, and biological filtration. The key is not to change out the entire filter material when performing maintenance. Only change out the carbon and part of the filter material. Corner filters require frequent maintenance and are only used in very small tanks. Next filter is under gravel filter. Under gravel aquarium filters can provide good mechanical filtration because it forces the water down through the aquarium gravel where particles are trapped. You can then use an aquarium vacuum to clean the detritus. Biological filtration occurs in the gravel because of the slow flow of water through it. The water is then pushed up through the uplift tubes in the back of the tank where chemical filtration takes place with the activated carbon in the top of the tubes. The problem with this type of aquarium filter stems from the fact that it can be difficult to thoroughly vacuum the gravel and harmful gas pockets can form under the gravel plates, thereby harming your tropical fish. I personally don't use under gravel filters because of this reason. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the use of undergravel filtration. Undergravel filters consist of a plastic grate or filter plate which lies under the gravel of the tank. This plate allows water to flow freely under the gravel. Water is drawn through the gravel, which acts as a mechanical and biological filter. To move the water, you can use either power heads or air pumps. A power head will pump water out of the top of the lift tube and into the tank. An air pump will blow bubbles at the bottom of the lift tubes, and the bubbles will lift water up the lift tube and into the tank. As water is moved out of the lift tube, it is replaced with water from under the filter plate, which in turn pulls water through the gravel where it is cleaned. The gravel itself provides mechanical filtration by catching large free-floating particles. The gravel, as well as the filter plate, tank bottom, and lift tubes provide a bed for the bacteria of biological filter. Undergravel filters primarily provide biological filtration. The next most popular filter is sponge filter because this filter provides a cheap and effective form of biological filtration. Water flows through the air lift tube, allowing a colony of beneficial bacteria to grow in the sponge. There is no chemical filtration with this method, and the mechanical filtration is very weak. You must do frequent water changes if this is your only form of filtration. Many breeders use the sponge filter in conjunction with a bare-bottom tank. After feeding their young fish, they will siphon any remaining food to prevent the water quality from deteriorating. Frequent water changes are performed because it aids in the rapid growth of the young fish. Fish breeders don't have to worry about mechanical or chemical filtration as much because they are performing frequent water changes. The disadvantages of sponge filter would be they are bulky, unsightly in tank, no chemical filtration, hard to hide in the tank, will not filter large tanks efficiently. However, they also have the advantages, which are cheap, easy maintenance, great biological filter, simple design, will not trap young fry, and great for quarantine tank. It will not remove medications, adds much needed oxygen, and can be moved to other tanks easily. The next filter is known as power filter. Power filter is easy to use and clean, and they can be an effective means of mechanical, chemical, and biological filtration. It is very inefficient because of its design. The intake tube for the dirty aquarium water is directly below the lip of the outflowing filtered water. Get a power filter that contains 2 filter media slots. With 2 filter slots, you can change out one side of the filter and then a few weeks later change out the other side. If you change out the entire set of media cartridge at once, you run the risk of having to recycle or mini-cycle because you have to out much of the beneficial bacteria. The next one is protein skimmer. This piece of equipment is usually very pricey, but it is a critical piece of equipment for saltwater aquarium beginners nonetheless. They are virtually useless in freshwater tanks. In saltwater tanks, the skimmer will remove dissolved organic material from the water, and anyone who has used one can tell you about the smelly brown gunk that gets pulled from the water. In the past, saltwater aquarium keepers will sometimes experience a complete die-off of the fish in their tanks. Many believe that it was due to the amount of dissolved organics in the water, and by using a protein skimmer, they have drastically reduced the chances of this happening. Skimmers completely remove proteins into a collection cup that can be emptied on a regular basis before they break down in the aquarium, leading to algae blooms. Protein skimmers also help increase the dissolved oxygen levels in your saltwater aquarium. As you can see from the picture, These are all the types of materials used for filtration. They include ceramic ring, activated carbon bioball, lava stone, filter sponge, and filter mat. The next picture is on the basic aquarium setup. To keep a fish alive in the tank, the most basic apparatus needed will be the filter with aerator, heater, lighting, and top cover. Once you have set up the aquarium, bear in mind that there are few important checklists need to be conducted on a regular basis. First, regular water change. Perform a partial water change about 20% with a good gravel vacuuming. Items needed will be aquarium scrubber, aquarium vacuum, and bucket. Water changes should increase the health of your fish and make your tank look nicer. Monitor the water quality all of the time, especially during initial setup and when stocking the tank. This helps to reduce the chance of causing any damage to the animals because of the buildup of high ammonia and nitrate levels. It is also advisable to test for nitrate, pH, and hardness. Monitor the temperature of the aquarium too. Third, cleaning of algal scum from the glass at periodical interval. Removal of dead fishes, raking the surface layer of the substrate, and removal of dirt by vacuuming device every week. Pruning of excess plant growth. If aquarium water turns cloudy after 1 or 2 months, it indicates the need to change the water. Top up water loss caused by evaporation once a week. These are some of the examples that you can use during aquarium maintenance activity. For example, gravel vacuum used to remove excess water, scraper to remove algae, net to move fishes, pump, brush, and siphon. For aquarium maintenance, develop an aquarium maintenance schedule. Clean fish tank at least once every 2 weeks. Once a week will be even better to take care of the fish tank and it will be easier to clean. Step 2. Turn off the electricity to the fish tank. This will be safer for you and it will keep the filter from clogging up with the debris you pull from the gravel. Step 3. Clean your fish tank. Each time you clean your aquarium, you will need to replace about 20% of the water. Insert the end of the vacuum hose into the bucket and the vacuum completely into the aquarium. Clean as much of the gravel as possible until 20% of the water is drained. Use your algae scrubber to scrape any algae off the front and maybe the sides of the tank. For acrylic aquariums, make sure that you won't scratch the acrylic with whatever you are using to clean the sides. Filters need to be checked for clogging and waste build-up. If they require cleaning, never rinse them under a tap as this washes away the beneficial bacteria. If clogged, rinse the filter media in some of the waste tank water during a routine water change. Next, refill aquarium with dechlorinated water. Before adding water to the tank, you should add the proper amount of chemicals that will remove the chlorine and chloramine from the incoming water. Add water that is the same temperature as your tank water. High temperature swings will be very stressful for your tropical fish. Are there any risks to me or you from keeping an aquarium? There are possible health or safety risks related to keeping an aquarium. However, the probability of any of these actually occurring appear to be lower with pet fish than the dangers involved in any other animal as a pet. The dangers or risks associated with keeping fish in a home or office aquarium are actually quite varied, but like I said, they are quite rare. Electricity and water don't mix. When you set up a fish tank, you are using electricity with water. This can pose several risks. Be sure to check whether any particular piece of aquarium equipment you are purchasing is okay to use underwater, must be used underwater, or cannot be used underwater. Some pieces of equipment need to be underwater to keep cool. Others, like most aquarium heaters, need to be partially underwater at all times to keep from breaking. However, most aquarium lights and all air pumps need to stay out of the water. You do want to check all your electrical aquarium equipment regularly for wear or other damage, or electrocution or fire become very real possibilities. In addition, always set up a drip loop on any electrical cord on a piece of aquarium equipment and on any piece of tubing connecting an electrical component to the fish tank. To set up a drip loop, you just need to make sure that the tube goes down and then up again between the fish tank and the outlet, or the fish tank and the electrical equipment. What this does is allows water to drip off the bottom of the loop before, rather than running into the electrical outlet, extension cord, power strip, or pump. Second risk, drowning. There is also a possibility of drowning. It really takes a very small amount of water to drown a person. And with an aquarium, you have not only the fish tank, which is full of water, but also the various buckets you are using, which can pose a risk for drowning. If you keep a proper cover on your fish tank and keep the tank itself generally out of reach of small children. For example, a tank on the floor with a 4-year-old around is a much bigger risk than a tank on a proper stand or piece of cabinetry. This risk should be less than the toilet or bathtub pose. As for the buckets, just don't leave the buckets unattended when children are around, and keep an eye on your children around the fish tank. Next risk, falling or spilling aquariums. There is a risk of the fish tank falling. However, you can take steps to reduce this risk further. First, make sure that whatever you place your fish tank on is strong enough to support the tank. Remember how heavy fish tanks are. Your best choice will be to have a professional cabinet maker build you something, or to purchase a quality aquarium stand from a reputable pet shop. Next risk is the aquarium fish. The fish themselves may also pose a risk depending on what kind of fish you have. Most fish have teeth and can bite, but this doesn't really make them any different than any other pet. But if you are providing proper care and give them proper food and space, this should be a very minimal risk. Some fish can scrape or scratch you, and others do have venom they can inject through modified fins. However, the risk of any of these things happening is low, especially if you are providing proper care for the fish. The time the fish pose the greatest risk to you is when you suddenly startle them, or when they are being caught to be transported. But again, this is true of almost any animal. Before we end our lecture, let us recap on the subtopics that we had learned. We learned on the aquarium types, aquarium filtration and accessories, aquarium maintenance, and safety concerns related to aquarium. With that, thank you for your attention. Until we meet again in our next topic.